I have one quick question. Why is it that you are the only one that shows up in relationships? Why does it seem like you are the only one that's putting in the work necessary to be there? We're going to find this out today. What's up, you guys? My name's Coach Freeman. I'm a licensed relationship coach, and I help people find clarity in their relationships through emotional intelligence. Why is it that you are the only one that shows up in relationships? Why does it seem like you are the only one that's putting in the work necessary to be there? So let's talk about emotionally unavailable people. These are the people who fear commitment. These are the people who string you along. They don't really want to be in a relationship. They just want someone to be around them, someone to make them feel comfortable in those times where they feel it's convenient for them. What's crazy is they only give you enough energy to keep you hooked onto them, to keep you there, but they don't necessarily want you there. They just want what you do for them. Kind of relates to the former conversation that we had, the previous conversation, where we've stated, or we've come to the conclusion that you may only love what that person can do for you, but you don't love what they've done for you. It's a different way of looking at things. If you guys missed it, you could check out the last video. I have a link to that video in the description. But the previous conversation, this is what we went over. Sometimes you fall in love with the potential. Sometimes you fall in love with what a person can do for you, but not in love with what they've done for you. And see, that's the different outlook to it. When you fall in love with what someone's done for you, that means that you appreciate what they've done for you. You appreciate them being there for you. So you wouldn't waste your time. You wouldn't waste their time. You would see it as painful to waste their time. You would see it as painful to waste your time. But you know that they wouldn't waste your time because you fell in love with what they've done for you. And you know that what they've done for you is give you their time, to show you that they're not wasting your time. See, you know what hurts about these situations is that we see the situations, we notice them, we see them all the time. We always notice the red flags, but we always hope that we're wrong. Isn't that funny? We always ask for signs, and then we get the signs, and then we hope that the signs are wrong. That's a funny take on life, isn't it? So having that clarity to know that this is what it is. It was a quote that this lady had given me yesterday. I was out handing out flyers, and she told me she was married for 20 years. And one of the things I do when someone tells me that they've been married, for a real long time, I ask them for, advice that they may give people. And what was funny about the quote she gave me? It was the quote in the previous video that I had given. The same video, the link that I will leave in the description. That same video. The quote she gave me was, if someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. If someone shows you who they are, believe them. A man is not going to do what's not in his heart. The first thing about not the first thing, but one of the good things about a healthy relationship is that even if you mess up, there's a range of accountability. There's an action that you take that shows the person that, you're taking accountable for your actions. You're doing wrong and you're willing to make it up. These people aren't like that. So you're showing up to these relationships. You're showing up, you're giving it your all, and they're just showing you, hey, I don't have time for the emotions. I'm just here for what I want. And, I'll leave out. And you just show up when I want you to show up. They might not say this, but their actions give that. Then we ask, why do you keep attracting these people? Why do you keep attracting this person or these people that continue to be emotionally unavailable? Why do you keep attracting them? One thing that I'm real big on is the relationship that you have with yourself. See, with my coaching sessions, what I focus on is you. Because the greatest relationship that you can have, other than with God or Jesus Christ himself, is the one you have with yourself. If you can fix the relationship that you have with yourself, then you can fix the relationship you have with other people. Their only perception of you is the perception that you give. It all starts from in here, or in here. Your mind is the most powerful biological computer ever created, the strongest one ever made. So one thing about it is, it's not just bad luck. It's not bad luck that you're attracting these people. It's not the fact that, oh, woe is me. These people just come to me. It's often hooked to emotional trauma or some type of unfulfilled emotional stability. Something within here or here, as I said before. You may be addicted to those situations because that's what your paradigm is. See, we look at it as, the people that I attract is the people that I attract. But the people that you attract is because of who you are. The people that will be around you are a projection. The people who are around you are a projection of who you are. So you have to project the energy you want. In the words of Gandhi, he says, you must be the change you want. You can't want change and not be the change. It's a major contradiction when you think. It doesn't really make sense. And see, a lot of the times when we get into these relationships, we're trying too hard to prove that we are worthy of the love. We're trying too hard to prove that the love that we want, that's what we want. That's what we're, oh yeah, I deserve this. I deserve this love. But see, one thing about respect, which comes with love, is that you have to give the respect to get it. When you learn that within yourself, the relationship that you have with yourself, when you respect yourself, you respect others. Because you know how to respect others. Because you respect yourself. See, another thing is, you confuse effort with your value. You think maybe if I do more, they'll stay. Maybe if I do enough, this person will stay around me. Effort does not contribute to value. You see, you could be, no shade at all to, anyone that works in these jobs, but you could be the one flipping the most burgers in a job. Just because you flip 50 burgers throughout that entire day doesn't mean that the supervisor would come to you and say, hey man, here's a $5 raise because you flipped 50 burgers in the last 30 minutes. This is your raise. That's almost the equivalency. You could do as much as you want. But if this person is emotionally unavailable, they're going to perceive you as the next man. They're going to perceive you as the next woman. They're going to perceive you as the next person on the next notch on their belt. Effort does not compensate for value. You know what compensates for value? In here. This compensates for value. When you value yourself high, when you create the high value for yourself, others create the high value for yourself. And those that can't see your value aren't your crowd. Those are the red flags. If they can't see your value, see your worth, see who you are, then that's not your crowd of people. That's not that's not who you should be around. If you see your self-worth here and others around you don't see that same self-worth, then they don't need to be around you. Now, I'm not saying put yourself at a pedestal higher than someone. I'm not saying say, oh yeah, I'm the greatest. I'm not saying that you say that you're greater than, your friends or anything like that. Don't be conceited or, over the top, egotistical. None of that. Just saying that whenever you put yourself in a position that you are feeling as though you have value, when you respect yourself, do not allow other people to disrespect you. If those people are willing to overstep those boundaries, then they don't need to be around you. One of the things that I go over a lot is soul ties. That's another thing that I talked about in the previous video. Another thing could be the fact that this person that you are linked to, you can have a soul tie with them that you haven't broken. And soul ties are normally created from emotional trauma or history. You might have been through some things with this person. And when you're emotionally traumatized by someone, it causes that person to stick in your mind. And then your mind makes you feel as though you need them because they're there. When you become familiar with something, familiarity breeds contempt. So when you become familiar with something, you don't want it to change. You want it to stay the same because it's a comfortability to you. And that's what an emotional traumatic situation does to someone. It becomes familiar because it's always replaying in your mind. It's always a cycle. It's a living space that thing or that situation has taken up in your mind. So it becomes familiar to you. And now you're linked to that person because that face is always familiar. That sound is always familiar. That song, that picture, that whatever it is, it's always familiar in your mind. So it becomes comfortability to you. You have to sever the tie if you plan on leaving, or if you plan on healing. If you plan on healing from this situation, you have to sever that tie, because soul ties can be damaging if it's not with the right person. Now, soul ties are essentially, most of the time, soul ties are bad because we're not tied to the person in the right way. And that soul tie becomes just that. That soul tie becomes just that, a soul tie. When you're dealing with soul ties, sometimes your heart operates on that dysfunction, and that links to what I had stated before, how that becomes familiar. So your heart functions off of dysfunction because it's familiar with the dysfunction, if you get what I'm saying. In those instances, you attract what you're used to and not what you're praying for. Sometimes, see, what I tell people a lot is that prayer is not a rubbing a lamp and then God shows up and says, "Here I am. It's time to do what you want." No, prayer is a way of aligning your will with God's. Align your will with God's will. And sometimes sometimes God's will requires you to flip the script. Sometimes God's will requires you to say, all right, look, I'm not doing this, I'm doing this. Sometimes God's will causes you to switch the rail pattern a little bit. And sometimes that means switching the person that is causing you to be dysfunctional, or the person that is dysfunctional in your life. Now, I'm not saying that this person is, not deserving of any love or anything like that, not deserving of a relationship or anything of that matter. But what I'm saying is this: if that person is showing you that they're not willing to give you the love that you're giving them, then it's time to allow God to change or shift your paradigm. So with that being said, I have a couple of steps that you could take to start healing, but you have to be committed to them. There has to be consistency, because one thing about healing is a consistent thing. When, say, you have a scratch on your arm, when that abrasion happens, your arm just doesn't, stop healing after one day. Say, okay, it's time to, I'm done, I'm tired. No, your body is consistently healing. It's consistently healing that wound every day until it is healed. So this is what you have to do. Have to be committed to this healing in order to heal. So one, you have to have clarity. You have to admit that you're chasing connection over commitment. You're chasing that connection. You can connect with anybody. You can connect with anyone on any level, anywhere. But commitment, you don't have that with everyone. Commitment is something you don't have with everyone you come into contact with. So stop chasing connections and look for commitment. Now, I'm not telling you to chase commitment. Listen to what I'm saying. Stop chasing connections and start looking for commitment. So when you're with someone, look out for commitment. Don't chase it, because the commitment will come. The person that is for you will naturally give you the commitment. Stop chasing connections and start looking for commitment. 2, you need to have closure. You need to sever the tie with the thing or the pattern or the person that you are tied to. You have to have closure. You have to admit to yourself. That's where clarity is. Admit to yourself what the pattern is, who you're connected to, what you have a soul tie, who you have a soul tie to. And then you have to sever it, renounce it. This is where you state, I am not tied to this person any longer. I am not connected with this person anymore. Nothing that this person has is for me. This relationship is not for me because this person is not willing to commit to me. This person is not willing to give me their time. This person is not willing to give me their space. This person is not willing to be clear with me, to clarify with me, to be vulnerable with me, to gain and sustain trust with me. This person is not meant for me. Renounce the tie. And this is how you sever it. You gain closure. This is it right here. There is no more steps. There is no more, okay, yeah, maybe they'll change. No more of that. No more of it. Take the next step. And the next step is 3. Boundaries. The right people will respect your boundaries and they will give you their time. The right people will know that, hey, I'm not going to overstep this boundary by not talking to you because I know that I respect you. And when you raise your standards, the wrong people will leave your life. When they realize that you gained a backbone for yourself, when they realize that you've grown positively, when you've grown that connection closer to God, when you've grown that connection closer to Jesus, the wrong people will leave your life. When light shines, darkness leaves. So whenever you become positive for yourself, you set those boundaries. Hey, I'm not standing for this. This right here. This is where I draw the line. And the people that respect that will say, okay, let's move forward. So move forward. Take that next step. Stop holding out on yourself. If you follow these 3 steps, you will start healing immediately. These are the first steps to healing. And then you have to stay committed to it. You have to stay consistent with it. You have to keep going. Do not stop. There'll be times where you feel like you will revert to your old self, but then you have to remind yourself to get back on the track. Hey, I'm here to stay. I'm here to stay. You'll become a completely different person afterwards. Trust me. Proverbs 4:23. It says, guard your heart at all costs because it determines your course in your life. And this is not saying, oh yeah, I don't want to love anymore. I'm not doing relationships. I hear a lot of people say that. A lot of the people that I come into contact with, a lot of clients that I've dealt with, a lot of people that I've dealt with, they say, hey, I can't do love no more. I'm not doing love no more. I can't do this relationship thing no more. Yes, we understand. I understand. You're hurting. There's a quote that says, genius is only the power of making continuous efforts. No one becomes great at anything by quitting and giving up. Yes, there'll be times where you hurt. When you were little, you fell off that bike. Did you stop riding bikes? No, you got back on the road again. When you got that fender bender and crashed your car into something, did you stop driving cars? No, you got into another car and drove again. When your boss fussed at you for messing up a job, did you just, oh yeah, I'm quitting? No, you came right back the next day and did it again. You burnt some food before. You might have been in the kitchen and burnt something. Did you stop cooking? No, you got right back in that kitchen and cooked again. Don't quit on relationships just because you had one bad experience. You take these 3 steps. Start your healing process. Start healing. Stay committed to it. And you will find yourself in a world that you have never discovered before. You will find yourself in a relationship and think, man, I didn't think I would find someone like this. God said it isn't good for man to be alone. Not knocking the people that are alone right now. Because if you can do it, that's God's course for your life. But for those who have relationships, who've had relationships and they don't want to do, don't quit on relationships and don't quit on yourself because of one bad experience. You have bad experiences everywhere in life, but you haven't quit on yourself yet. On that note, I work with people every day. That need emotional healing, that need that emotional clarity, that need to be able to see through their relationships, that need to be able to heal from their relationships. If this sounds like you, if you feel as though you may need coaching, you may need some help, you may need some guidance somewhere, contact me. My information will be in the description below. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe to all your friends. Show this to someone who needs it. Show this to someone who would need some clarity, who would need some healing. This is literally like a free coaching session. There's people out there paying top dollar, $2,000 an hour for this type of information. But right now you're getting it for free because I want to help people. Just know that you deserve real love and not confusion. You deserve real love, not confusion. I just want to say to you guys, God bless, and don't let anyone stress you out. All right, y'all. Peace.